Recording in progress.
Good morning, Commissioners. We welcome the representative of the Premier of KZN, MEC Mshengu, is here. Thank you very much. Welcome, MEC. We are waiting for the acting DJP. I'm told she was here, but she disappeared. She should be coming in any time.
I apologize, Chief Justice.
Good morning, ADJP.
These things are not familiar to us from KZN and Eastern Cape.
Well, I was concerned that you mustn't give a wrong impression of KZN. I think we are all here now. I just want to say to the commissioners, you know that yesterday we talked about the chairperson exercising certain powers. Maybe in regard to the leadership position, I will see if, when I exercise the powers, to say that's it. But for the other candidates, I think that I will not allow us to go beyond an hour. We all accept, we understand. But in all of this, we will try and make sure that we don't compromise the quality. It just means the quality of the interview. It just means that we really need to be selective in terms of the questions that we want to ask, important questions that help us to make up our minds. Okay, it's all in the interest of all of us. Okay, all right. Thank you. I think, therefore, that the Secretariat can call the candidate. Good morning, Justice Madondo.
Good morning, CJ.
How are you this morning?
I'm okay.
You are fine.
I'm all right, yes.
Please bring your mic closer to you. It's important that each and every one of the commissioners hears whatever you say.
Okay, thank you.
We don't want to interview a candidate who might be saying, I'm sick, I'm not fine. Are you fine?
Yes, I'm fine.
Okay, all right. I just want to start by indicating that Justice Madondo and I have known each other for many, many years. We were in the same class at university, the class of 1981 at the University of Zululand. We have known each other for a long time. That is, he, the former Chief Justice, Hueng, and I, and Mr. Ngwenya, who was a judge at some stage in the Western Cape, but later resigned. We were all in the same class. So I just thought I would indicate that. Justice Madondo, we thank you for availing yourself for consideration for the position of Judge President of the KZN Division of the High Court. I am going to give you a certain amount of time shortly when you could address the commissioners in terms of your vision for the division. But before I do that, I think it is appropriate that I just get out of the way certain basic information about you, so that when you finish addressing us on that, we can get to questions that go to substantive issues. I see that you hold a B.Juris degree an LLB degree, and a master's degree. The Juris degree is from the University of Zululand, and you got it you completed it in 1983, is that right?
Yes.
And then the LLB, when did you complete the LLB?
In 1985.
1985. And then you completed the LLM in 1991.
Yes.
Yes. And the LLB, you completed it at the University of Natal, the then University of Natal.
Yes.
Was that in the same year as the former Chief Justice?
Yes.
Yes. But you subsequently also did some, obtained some certificates with regard to, for example, the drafting of legislation. Is that right?
Yes.
You'll have to speak up, Justice Madondo, so that the commissioners can all hear your answers. Maybe come
The answer
closer
is-
to the mic.
Answer is yes.
Yes, okay, all right. I'm not going to go into a lot of details about certain matters because we have got them here on record in the questionnaire in your CV. So I'm not going to cover everything. We have got it here. You practiced as an advocate for how many years before you were appointed as a judge?
For 16 years.
For 16 years.
Yes.
Yes. And you were appointed as a judge in 2007.
Yes.
That is in the KZN division of the High Court.
Yes.
And you have remained in that division throughout.
Yes.
And in 2016, you were appointed as the Deputy Judge President.
Yes.
And throughout, that means that you have been a judge for about, what, 15 years?
Yes. Yes.
Yes. And you have been in a leadership position as DJP for about 5-6 years?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Now, I have noticed, and you have also acted in the Constitutional Court, is that correct?
Yes.
And your acting stint in the Constitutional Court was last year.
Yes.
Was it for one term?
2 terms.
For 2 terms.
Yes.
But during part of the term, you fell ill and you didn't participate in some matters until you had recovered.
Yes. It was towards the end of the last term.
Yes.
Yes.
How did you find acting in the Constitutional Court?
Well, I found it pleasing and also increasing my competence and efficiency.
Yes.
Yes.
Now, over the 15 or 16 years that you have been a judge, you have, I see that you have reaped numerous reported judgments.
Yes.
Are there about 75 reported judgments? About how many are there?
Well, recorded there is 75, but to my knowledge, there are more than 75.
Or
Because, well, there are other judgments that did not include from the Industrial Court and from CCMA and other bargaining councils.
yeah, but I'm just talking about judgments in the courts as recognized in our Constitution.
Yes.
The High Court and any other court that is recognized in our Constitution.
Well, even there, according to my knowledge, there are more than 75.
Oh, okay. Well, I just saw a list that went up to 75.
Yes,
Yeah, but you're saying that's not all.
it's not all, but
Yeah.
you can work on that list.
Yes.
Yes.
So what would be your estimate of about how many reported judgments there are that you have written in courts that are recognized in our Constitution?
To my recollection, there could be 80 or
It would be
above
about-
that.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Okay, all right. And I think that it's clear from at least some of those judgments that you take trouble to really go into issues when you write your judgments.
Yes.
Now, you are being interviewed for a leadership position, for the position of Judge President of the Division. You are already a judge. You have been a judge for 15, 16 years. You are Deputy Judge President. So one will focus on leadership issues for purposes of your interview. Now, at this stage, I want to give you an opportunity to articulate your vision for the division. I think that I'll give you 10 minutes. Would you be able to do that in 10 minutes?
Yes.
The important features of the vision.
Yes.
Okay, all right. Please go ahead.
I'll start by saying before 1994, our courts were used to protect the minority of the minority section of the population, as well as to further the interest or the policy of the apartheid government. So after the constitutional dispensation, the need exists to establish a judiciary that is representative of all the people committed to protecting and serving all the people, and also promoting the constitutional values and human rights. So to achieve that, the judiciary has to be transformed. So to be able to do that, the transformation of the judiciary increases access to justice. In this way, because when we talk about access to justice, we talk about 3 to 4 things. Firstly is the physical access to justice, where people should walk into the court and assert their rights and defend their rights. And also there are certain obstacles or hindrances, just like language barrier, which should also be removed by providing competent and efficient and proficient interpreters, so that the people will be able to understand and follow the proceedings. And also, the other thing is, the third issue, is the provision of legal services, because most of the people that are poor, or some have been marginalized for some time, And we found that the cost of litigation is too high, which renders the system to be beyond reach for many people. So something should be done in that regard. And also to expand the services to remote areas and thereby enlarge the capacity of the court, so to enable it to operate competently and efficiently. So to reduce the cost, we have to introduce some programs like cash flow management program, which helps to give everybody a due procedural process. And that one, nobody will be excluded, all the cases will be treated at once. So for us to achieve that, we must have people who are knowledgeable with the process, and also the introduction or implementation of the court-based mediation process will also help to expedite the finalization of cases and to reduce the cost of litigation. Because if the cost of litigation are too high, it would not make sense to say people must have access to justice, because that is a barrier to access to justice. And also, in a way, it also helps to reduce the backlogs, because we will not have cases which are being postponed and lots of problems, because we would get to solve the problem right from the outset. So then the other thing is my mind that now South Africa, or the justice system in South Africa, should be organized in such a way that everybody have equal and equality justice, or to achieve equal and equality justice for all, irrespective of race, gender, socio-economic status, or other forms of human diversity. If we have to do that, we have to review all the rules, procedures, processes, and practices which have been in place, because we know that those practices that are based on archaic procedures on the Roman Dutch law, which was applicable at the time, even though now it's still also applicable. But also it should be visited. Then we have to reconsider those rules and procedures, so to ascertain their adequacy and appropriateness to access to justice. Because some of them are obstacles to accessing justice. So they have to be simplified, harmonized, and aligned with the constitutional values and human rights. If we achieve that, we'll be able to dispense equal and quality justice for all, because all those things we have to attend to. So my vision is to attend to this, as I've already started. attending to these things. Previously, when I was interviewed for the DJP position, I set out what I intended to do, but I'm pleased to tell this commission that I've covered up to 90% of what I set out to do. So now I'm going to proceed and finish up what I've started. And the other thing, which must go hand in hand with this, is the competency and efficiency of judges, because all these things will come to nil if the judges are not competent or efficient or have relevant knowledge to be able to resolve the dispute in the manner we have set out to do, because we have to provide a speedy, affordable, and simple process for the resolution of disputes. That will be a cure to a number of problems or diseases in the system. So, looking at all that needs a leadership which will be in a position to identify problems and find and craft solutions to the problems and communicate them to all the stakeholders. And once that is done, then it has to be initiated and managed, so to achieve the objective. So on the whole, my vision is like that, or is that.
Thank you very much, DJP. What are the 5 major problems that you are aware the division is facing? And once you have, I want you to identify them. Obviously, if they are less than 5, then you will say only those that, that you have. And then tell the Commission what is presently being done to deal with those problems, and tell the Commission what you plan to do to deal with the problems if you are appointed as Judge President.
I think I'll enumerate them as I move along.
Yes, I suggest you identify one and say, there is this problem. At the moment, nothing is being done about it, but I've got a plan. This is what I will do about it if I'm appointed. Or here is what is being done, and I'm going to continue with that. So, and then say, number 2 is this, number 3 is this.
I'll start with the insufficient number of the judges to effectively deal with the matters that come before them. Our division, according to the 2016 statistics, has a population of 11,065,240. Against that, we have 30 judges. So if you allocate this, it clearly shows that the number of judges is too low as compared to the population they have to serve. And secondly, we don't have sufficient courtrooms though I've taken some steps to address that problems, but the problem now is with the public works. They were supposed to start last year. Up until now, early this year, they promised to do something at the end of February. Because what is aligned to that is the problem relating to the load shedding, which creates a problem. And it's quite frequent in KwaZulu-Natal. I don't know whether in our courts, where you find that there's no electricity as early as 10 o'clock or twice a day. So we don't have the generator. I've appealed to them that to install the generator so that when the electricity goes, it will take off, because that disrupts the functioning of the court. Is one of the major problems causing us some backlogs during these load sheddings. So that is being addressed. The other problems we often encounter is that our lives are not always in order. They're just out of order most of the time. And the people who are hired to do these things, I don't know whether they know whether they are going or they are coming. Because after 2 days, they have attended to, you find that the problem has reoccurred again. So we also address that it is part of the project, because we want to have the entire Pietermaritzburg High Court renovated and put to the standard which it should be. And also, we don't have sufficient library facilities, though the decision or the resolution is taken that we should have 1 or 2 books in the library. That will seriously affect or adversely affect the quality of decisions that division will produce, in the sense that most of the people are not really conversant with these new model things. Even those who are conversant, we don't have a sufficient Wi-Fi which one could use. The reception is too bad. And if we rely on one book, I don't understand. It's unimaginable. How are we going to achieve this? Also, as it has been resolved that even these chamber libraries should not have their books updated and so on. They are commonly used books, which one may have it at all times when in the performance of judicial functions. But if those books are not going to be available, that will become a dream or quite elusive. So this is part of the problems we are experiencing. Though I've taken up that matter with the heads of court, understand the Chief Justice is working on it, because it's causing us a serious problem. Because if we don't have the tools to perform our work, what kind of result is expected at the end of the day? And when we come to access to justice, there's another problem created by these traditional leadership disputes. There are too many in KwaZulu-Natal where you find people toying, jumping all the day, wanting to address their question of traditional leadership. So I've looked at these things because those cases are clogging the system because our judges, they don't have the greater expertise to deal with this thing more than the traditional structures. We are supposed to have a key governing traditional structure like the King's Council. So if the King's Council is there, because it's expected to assist, support, and guide the senior traditional leaders, which call Amakosi, in the performance of their judicial functions or administrative functions.
Okay, I'm going to interrupt you there. We have gone beyond 10 minutes, but there will be questions which may enable you to deal with some of the challenges, Justice Madondo.
Yes.
I want to just talk about the issue of the library you have raised. Are you referring to the issue that the Office of the Chief Justice has indicated that the Department of Justice previously indicated that there were challenges about budget, and in order to deal with challenges of budget, there was a suggestion that judges should try as far as possible to use online technology to access books so that there would be no need to update hard copies and so on. Is that what you're talking about?
Yes.
Yes, and the matter is to be taken up with the Minister of Justice because the heads of courts are very concerned with regard to certain divisions. Some divisions don't have a problem, but some divisions have a problem, and your division is one of them.
Yes.
Yeah, okay, all right.
Sorry, Chief Justice.
Yes.
Just in one sentence or two, I want to finish up this thing of King's Council.
Yes, okay.
Because in my view, if that is efficiently and completely operative, that will serve us a time, because some of these disputes could be channeled to this structure, maybe coming to us as reviews and so on. Because even if they bring them there, they take time to be resolved, and some are not resolved. When you find those people are belligerent, they are fighting over something that could result in violence at any time if they are not addressed properly. That's what I wanted to put across.
Yes.
Thank you.
No, that's fine. Now, during the 5 or 6 years that you have been DJP, I know that as DJP, your role and what you get involved in other than actual adjudication of cases depends on what the JP delegates to you. Are you able to share with the commissioners what leadership or management matters within the division you have been involved in as DJP, and in respect of which you have played a role, either in putting in place or in improving?
Well, the first one is the appointment of acting judges, because the JP gave me a privilege to appoint people who were in the in the division where I will be sitting. So although in the limited number, but I also participated in that one, and as a result, I managed to have a number of acting judges appointed, and the greater number is coming from the female acting judges. There's one thing I've participated in.
Please raise your voice so everybody can hear you.
I say that is the first thing I've participated in, even though in a limited role, but I participated. And also in attending certain problems relating to the infrastructure, as I've set out the problems we're experiencing, and also I've taken steps working with the court manager to address this problem. As a result, the agreement has been reached between the department and the certain service provider to attend to a number of things we have raised in the refurbishment of Pietermaritzburg High Court. I also attended to the, though at a later stage, to the construction of the Durban High Court as it's being constructed at the moment. The other thing was the allocation of judges where I will be sitting, and also the drafting of the roster at the request of the JP.
Yes.
Yes.
Now, if you are appointed as judge president, you will be responsible not just for your division, the High Court division, but you will also be overseeing the regional courts and district courts in the province. Is that right?
Yes.
And have you participated in PEC meetings, that is Provincial Efficiency Enhancement Committee meetings in the province?
Well, yes, I forgot to mention that since 2016, I've been chairing that committee.
And that is a committee that seeks to identify problems that all the courts in the province are facing, so as to ensure that those problems are addressed so that the courts are run efficiently.
Yes.
And how has that body been functioning, the PEEC, in the past few years?
Before I started?
No, during the time when you were chairing it.
Oh, it's functioning well, though at the beginning we had some problems in the way it was operating, but we devised some means to address those problems.
Yes.
We found that some of these stakeholders, they were pointing fingers at each other, fighting at the meetings and all those things. And we realized that no, we cannot have any progress here. Let's have a stakeholders meeting before the PEC meeting. So to attend those issues of mutual interest, if they don't see eye to eye, then we try to resolve them. If they are not resolved, then we refer them to the PEC to be decided or resolved pertinently. That happened. And also, we appointed certain subcommittees because there were performance problems, more particularly in the regional court, where we'll find that the court will sit the maximum of 2 hours a day. So to be able to address those problems. And the other thing, we discovered that there are some detainees who have spent more than 2 years, 5 years, and some more than 5 years in detention without having their cases finalized, awaiting trial. And some have been given bail, but they could not pay, maybe due to poverty or some other problems. Then we sat down and tried to resolve that problem. We appointed a subcommittee which was led by Chief Magistrate Ngubane to address that all those cases where a bail of at least 1,000 has been fixed and the person is not able to pay for some time, they should bring back those cases for reconsideration and see what it can be done about them. And also to address the question of these detainees who spend much time and to find out what the problems are and what the solutions could be. So we have a motto which says, we don't listen to problems all the time. We listen to problems and find ways of addressing those problems. So that started there. We also addressed the question of the interpreters. As we all know that in our courts, most of the accused are depending on the interpreter. If the interpreter is not competent and efficient, there will be a miscarriage of justice if the presiding officer is not conversant with the language used. And also the plight of the interpreters, that should be addressed, because at the time we found that the entry level at the High Court was level 5, whereas in the District Court you find that there's somebody who is a level 7. And I wondered what incentive the one can get from this, that we can leave the Magistrate Court to the High Court only to find that we are in another way demoted. Then we come together with the DOJ, and COJ was led by Shamila, and we addressed the question of the interpreters, even their level and ranks and their participation. It ended up that the principal and senior interpreters who were previously excluded from participating in the decision-making process, they become party to that. So to address that question, and also the question of the obtaining of statement by the police, because we have realized now there's a lot of problems when the matter comes to trial, where you find that the legal counsel will sit on the statement obtained by a police officer, but you find the statement is really wanting, and that results in the failure of justice. So then I appeal to the officers there that they must organize the training in cooperation with the prosecution, so that they must know what is required when the statement is obtained. Because some of the counsel, they think that the statement is only evidence. They sit on that and do nothing else, and they argue on the statement throughout, only find that the statement has got problems. And also the problems of the laboratory, forensic laboratory. for some time, we realized that some of the cases get withdrawn because of the absence of the evidence. And we tried to seek help from other regions, the Eastern Cape, others, to take some cases there for analysis. That is being done in order to address the problem, because it's a problem which affecting almost the entire country, if I know or if I hear. So those are the things we have so far addressed in the PEC.
Okay, no, thank you. If you are appointed as Judge President, how long will you still have to go before you are compelled to retire?
Well, I will go for about 2 years.
It would be about 2 years?
Yes.
Okay, all right. I will now allow the acting DJP, who is representing the division, to put such questions to you as she may wish to. After that, I will allow MEC Mshengu, representing the Premier, to do the same, and thereafter the commissioners. I just share this information with the ATJP and the MEC. We agreed to limit ourselves to 2 questions, but I allow the person representing the division more leeway to ask questions, because they would know a lot about the division. And usually the Premier or MEC, they don't have lots of questions, so I'm sure everything will be manageable. Thank you. ATJP, I give you the opportunity now.
Thank you, Chief Justice. Good morning, Acting Judge President Matondo.
Good morning.
We've known each other for a long time, but we won't go there. We worked together, but I know you even before, from the time you were still in practice, but we will come to that. I just want to start here. The Judge President, who has retired, Judge Japi, at your interviews for the position of the DJP in October 2015, he said, I will quote, "The first issue is really in praise of you, that over the last year or so, you had gone out of your way to introduce an element of cordiality amongst judges." That was his statement. I want to know, has that changed, or you have continued? Because people tend to change once they obtain some of these positions.
No, it has not changed. It has continued.
Do you want to elaborate?
Yes.
Yes, please.
So my style of leadership is that I adopt all inclusive and consultative approach, and taking the views of all the colleagues, so that they will become part of the decision-making process and solution to problems. I here receive and respect all the viewpoints and opinions of the colleagues, and that in turn create a sense of equality, in that each and everyone will have that sense that his or her views are valued. That helps to create a conducive atmosphere where a team spirit will thrive. The kind of leadership I pursue, it tends to create and strengthen interpersonal bonds and cultivate a culture of cooperation, which in turn promotes open and frequent communication, exchange of ideas, and sharing of information with a view to keeping everyone informed and having a feeling of understanding and inclusion. That is the type of leadership he talked about.
Thank you, Judge Madondo. Perhaps to follow up from there, there seemed to be a gap between the communication to the judges of the division from, for instance, what happens at the heads of court, either before or after the meeting. And there are two examples that I would like to make. The one related to the issue of salaries. It was a hot debate because in my view, the resolution came to our knowledge at a later stage where we were under the impression that it was a draft. And the second one was this issue of the libraries. Some of the judges came to know about it when it was being implemented. Is there anything that you will do to improve that communication? Because we don't seem to be up to date with what is happening at the heads of court, and that will create a problem, I think, for the Chief Justice.
Yes, and I've started a few days before the heads of court meeting. I received information from members complaining about all these issues, and only to find that nobody knew that a resolution had been taken. And I took steps to get the documentation pertaining to the meeting of October, I think 2021, where I found a full report and the resolution. I circulated that to the judges, even though it was short time, and asked them to comment before I could attend the heads of court meeting. And also, with regard to the last one, I did the same thing where I had a discussion with the Chief Justice about the problems we have, and he suggested that it'd be better if we put something before the heads of court meeting so that it will consider it and decide whether it affects other divisions as well. And if that is the case, then the meeting will decide whether to approach or to adopt a uniform approach. So I asked them also to comment on that. As a result, then we submitted, with the leave of the Chief Justice, submitted a memorandum in that regard. After these meetings, or even the salary issue as well, after these meetings, I circulated a report, what transpired, what is expected to happen, and I will continue doing that.
Thank you, and I will hold you to that undertaking, Judge Madondo. The next issue, just for clarity and perhaps just to put many of us, especially the new judges, at ease, there seemed to be some tension or not a clear understanding as to the role of the court manager and the role of the judge president. We seem to get at times quite a few directives or even, I don't know how to put it, but I don't want to be harsh. Let me just say, maybe we get some advices from the court manager. How should it work?
Well, even though I have not been appropriately in the center of the whole thing, but the court managers, they have to assist the courts, more particularly the operational level of the courts, with the supplying of the court personnel, and they acquire certain facilities, allocate them and manage. But they do all that under the auspices of the head of court. Even if they want to take a decision, maybe the decision which may affect even the judges or affect the function of the court, they have to discuss that with the head of court. And there comes out a decision on the matter. It's not that we'll find the court manager operating on his or herself, because that creates problems. But when it comes to judges, the judges will not want to listen to the court managers that are telling them what to do and not to do. So they have to work under the supervision and control of the head of court. In my view, and even if I look at some other things.
So perhaps the clear communication when it relates to judges should be from either the judge president or the I'm saying acting deputy judge president as if I'm going to be acting forever, but it should really be coming from the judge president and the deputy judge president.
Yes, it should come. It should come from those sources, because otherwise, as you know, the judges would not listen to the court manager saying things in that fashion. So it should be like that. So, well, if I'm appointed, we have to formalize this thing and organize it properly, so to have a smooth functioning and running of the institution.
Yes. I want to come to an issue that you mentioned when the Chief Justice was asking you some of the questions, and this relates to the issue of the increasing population of KwaZulu-Natal, the issue of the increase of the workload and the number of judges that we have, and that impacts on the efficiency and competency of the judges, in my view. And there's a talk about the wellness of judges, because in all of that, there has to be a balance between these two and the wellness of judges. How are you going to ensure that this is achieved?
Before you respond, DJP, ADJP, yes. I propose to give you 5 minutes. So if the two of you can try and finish within 5 minutes. Okay, proceed. You may respond, DJP.
Yes, the greater part of this lies with the ministry, in the sense that, as I've indicated earlier on, that we have to increase the complement of judges at least by 3, so to be able to address these problems, even though there are some other measures which should be taken. And the wellness of the judges is something which will be attended to. At one stage, even though I was not the head of the court, I talked to Judge Mbata, who happened to know some other people, and she referred me to one of the psychologists who explained to me how it goes. And I went to an extent of talking to J.P. Musi, who is the convener of that committee, and I was told that that should be done at the national level and then cascade down to us. But up until now, nothing has happened according to my recollection. But I think that should be pursued as well, because if you can't have the smaller number of people attending to the greater work, and expect those people will be healthy throughout.
Thank you, Judge Matondo. I had lots of questions, as you would imagine, but the Chief Justice said I have only 5 minutes, so I'll ask two. I'm saying these two so that if you take longer, the Chief Justice must know that I still have one more question. So the one question that I want to ask you is about the impact of the skewed briefing patterns that it has on the transformation of the judiciary. And you had taken an initiative, if one looks at page 23 of your questionnaire, point 18, you were a member of an empowerment committee of the Black Lawyers Association, where you played a role in addressing those briefing patterns. If you can just briefly explain your role there and how, if it has helped towards transforming the legal profession, but also the judiciary.
Thank you. Even though I have a limited time.
Yes, you have limited time. We don't have all the time in the world.
That would give me...
We wish we could have more time, but you know we must interview candidates for your division too.
That would give me a problem.
But all the information that is in the documentation is with us, so it's not as if you don't address it, we don't have it. But go ahead and respond.
Yes, as you know, DJP, that the objectives of that forum, which was a joint BLA-NADEL Empowerment Committee, was to redirect the legal work to the Black legal professionals who, for some years, has been excluded from receiving lucrative briefs and institutions and instructions from private institutions, the state or state organs, parastatals, etc. When I'm talking about Black, I'm not talking about African only. I'm talking about Africans, Asians, and coloreds. So the second thing was to transfer the skills and experience or expertise. That was to be done by pairing the Black members with the senior white members in certain matters to achieve that purpose. And also to facilitate the training of the legal practitioners, so to be able to acquire the necessary skills and to compete effectively in the legal world. So, and also to provide the legal services to indigent people. What has happened after our endeavors the black legal practitioners receive work and gain the experience, the exposure, credibility, and acceptance in certain areas of law, which in their normal practice could not have received. That has happened. And the pairing of these, of the black and the white we have experienced also resulted in the black legal practitioners acquiring the necessary experience and expertise. And the training helped to enhance the competency and efficiency of the black legal practitioners, so to and also improved the quality of legal services. And that has helped us to create a pool of black professionals, legal professionals, from which the appointments for acting appointment, whether the magistrate or the high court, could be drawn with confidence. And that has happened. The spin-offs of that was that eventually we managed to draw some of the people from that pool to the bench, and later to recommend them for appointment to the SCA in particular. The people who have been recommended, some of them are junior. We recommend the junior and the senior. Some of them are junior, would not have that opportunity at all, but with their capabilities, competence and efficiency they have demonstrated, they are recommended, and when they come there, they perform exceptionally well. Let's take the example of Judge Mbata. She was junior, it was 6 years or so, and when she recommended, after that she was permanently employed. And even now, I have heard that even the Concord has seen that she's a person who might be used as well there. That is one of the people coming from what I'm saying.
Thank you, Judge Madondo. ATGP, I won't allow your further question. You have to trust that the answers that have been given have dealt with certain issues, and that maybe your question might be picked up by somebody else. MEC, I give you a chance to ask a few questions.
Thank you, Chief
Let
Justice.
me say, Judge Madondo, would you please try and be crisp in your answers? That will be very helpful. I can assure you that when commissioners ask questions, their questions will be very crisp. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Chair, Chief Justice. Justice Madondo, when you were outlining your vision, you indicated that after 1994, a process had to be undertaken to transform the judiciary. Now, building from that, I want to check what will be your take in the role of the judiciary now in transforming the society, the South African society, not only in terms of the access to justice as we enumerated, but also in the context where, for example, the executive will take a particular decision or policy matter which is aimed at engendering transformation of the society, South African society. And that will be challenged and reversed by courts. So what role should courts play in the transformation of the whole society?
Well, it depends on what the relationship it has with the society. There are structures in the society which could be utilized in achieving that process. We have the traditional structures, we have the municipality, we have other people who are close to the community. And one of the things is to inform the community of whatever processes and activities the court may engage in, and the reason for that, so that everyone will be in the loop or will be knowing what is happening. There are certain ways we can be able to achieve that purpose, because the people must know that now we have to conform to the constitutional values. So there should be a way of addressing that problem.
Okay. The second question, which is, my second question will be, with regard to the access to justice, one of the realities is that it is still, by and large, accessible to those who have means, who are enlightened in a sense that they do have information, and probably residing in more cosmopolitan or affluent areas. Now, KZN being largely rural, and many people residing in rural areas, where there are many atrocities that happen without victims knowing what route to take. Now, if we were to be appointed as a judge president, what practical steps would you take to make sure that a person in the deep rural area of Umsinga, Umhlabuya Lingana, who is not enlightened, an old woman who has never been at school, when he feels that he has been victimized, has access to justice?
Well, the primary structure which should be revitalized is the traditional court, because the traditional court just offers or provides inexpensive and prompt services. Because if you want people to come to the High Court and so on, we have to provide the legal services, as we have done. We set up the legal help desk under the auspices of the former KwaZulu-Natal Law Society, the pro bono.org services, and the Legal Aid South Africa, just to address that problem, that the people who cannot afford should be given that services by practitioners.
Okay, my last question is that, and I think you did make mention of this challenge earlier on. In one ESCO meeting, we received a report that some lower courts in KZN will operate for a maximum of 4 hours a day. And I think earlier on you mentioned that some will be about 2 hours, if I heard you well. But let me speak to the formal report that we got, is that they will operate for a maximum of 4 hours a day. Isn't that a hindrance to justice if it's still happening?
Well, they're supposed to operate at least 4.5 hours a day. We found that in some instances they were operating for 2 hours with certain reasons, but with the arrival of the new acting Judge President Mapu, there's been a change. In the last PEC meeting, we realized the change that some now are operating at 3 or 4 hours. So we are busy addressing that problem so that the people should get justice.
Thanks, CJ.
Thank you, MEC. Commissioner Makwanisha.
Thank you very much, Chief Justice. Good morning, Judge Matondo.
Good morning.
Let me start by saying that I'm very interested in how your court is dealing with the issue of overcrowding. As the portfolio committee, we might want to make a follow-up. It's very interesting because it's one of the issues that is troubling us. The issue of people who cannot afford to pay bills, and as a result, they're in prison. I think that is highly commendable. How would you deal with a judge or an acting judge who does not deliver judgments on time or who delivers substandard judgment, but in addition to that, who does not seem to agree that he or she has a problem?
Well, that is a problem. In the first instance, the judges are independent in the performance of their judicial functions. But also, they should know that they are accountable to the society and subject to its watchful eyes. So what happens, and we normally do, we ask a particular judge in writing when the judgment will be expected in the matter. And in the responding to that and say, no, maybe in 2 weeks or 3 weeks' time, and you make a follow-up and find out what the problem is. But at some stage, you even give that person an opportunity to address this, and only to find that his receiver is available to help other people. Then you have to sit down with that person and address this problem and look, if you don't perform in the way you should, this will be taken up with the JSC Judicial Committee to be addressed in that fashion. But before that, we have to talk to the person, we have to find out what the problems are. But if the person does not acknowledge the problem he or she has, that is problematic. But we'll try other means to get the person doing what is right.
My last question, Chief Justice.
May I suggest for now, because I see there are many people who want to ask questions, may I suggest that we limit one another to one question for now each, and then later on when maybe more have asked, we can see whether we can do second questions. Okay,
that's
all
fine.
right, thank you. Okay, Commissioner Moimang.
Thank you.
1 second, let me just mention this. One advantage of doing it this way is that the second question you wanted to ask might be asked by somebody else, and then, yeah. Okay, Commissioner Moimang.
Thank you, Chief Justice. Good morning, Deputy Justice President Matondo.
Good morning, sir.
Just one question from my side, which emanates from a number of articles that you have written, particularly around the role of traditional courts, but also some of your judgment that speaks to the property regime in the traditional, within the traditional communities, particularly black people. What do you think could be done to normalize and equalize the property regime to the millions of people that are living in what is referred to as the communal land in the former Bantustan, because the protection given to Section 25, as far as we are concerned, the rural dwellers, is non-existent. An attempt was made in the past through the Communal Land Rights Act. It was set aside because it brought two property regime, but also on land, the Lamosa judgment, a reopening of the land claims, it was set aside. Now the traditional courts bill that is before Parliament is also grounded because of the different views around the opt-out clause, which is a challenge. Could the interest of the traditional leadership be an impediment towards equal property regime protection to those communal land dwellers? Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. But the problem here, we have the traditional laws governing the property, even though it has been distorted, maybe during the apartheid era, which is different from the Western style of managing property. So if you talk about the communal land, well, though I don't understand whether it's a traditional one or it's just a communal land as a result of the laws of the apartheid. If it is a traditional one, in the traditional setup, there are structures operating there with the Ingosi or Makosi. And everybody, or almost everybody, knows the principles of ownership. At some stage, you hear somebody says, in the traditional setup, there's no ownership. That's a lie. Because once a site is allocated to a certain person, if that person dies, the site goes to his children, on and on and on and on. Even if he leaves the area, it will be known this is so-and-so's old site. So if we stick to our law, our principles, and appeal to the government to recognize our principles in the same way, maybe it would be somehow modeled here and there, but if those could be recognized, can eliminate these problems. And with regard to the communal law, I think the government must have a clear legislation on that and how this is regulated. And if we talk about land, we talk about a few plots for millions of people, and we find that one or two people have got a vast tract of land which could not be equal to what the whole of traditional people have. So this is a vast question which I think cannot be addressed by courts, but can address by legislative measures. As you talk about this traditional court bill, it has been back and forth because of the problems, because some people, they undermine the traditional system. So that's why we have a problem. Once the people accept fully and try to take what is best in the traditional system and also what is best in the Western system, and mix the two if they want, and that might also solve the problem.
Thank you, Deputy Judge President. Thank you, Chief Justice.
Thank you. I will now go to Commissioner Nochesi, and as he prepares to put questions, I just remind commissioners, I know sometimes it can be difficult, but let's try and just ask direct questions so that we save time. So try your best, Commissioner Nochesi.
I will do. Thank you, Chief Justice. I would not greet because the Chief Justice has already done, so to save time. My question just has two parts, but it's one. First, in the magistrate court, in the magistrate's court, civil is just sort of something that is just neglected. Those cases would even be heard in offices. What is your plan, or how would you see civil court practice in the magistrate court being improved? Second part, there is a regionalization of courts, the High Court itself, where acting appointment would be done only for the division where you stay. For instance, I must be from KZN to be an acting judge there. Is this not a step back towards Bantustan, where we have come from? And what is your view about acting appointments? Thank you.
Yes, about the civil courts and the magistracy, I think one has to meet the leadership there and find out what's happening, what the problems are, how those problems could be solved. Because if the matters are heard in the chamber's office, that is not right unless if both parties are consenting. So one has to find the root cause of that, and then address it. Because just now to say what I'll effectively do, I'll be speculating, but I have to go there and find out what is happening and how to address the problem. And with regard to the regionalization of courts, I'll have two answers. In our division, we also take people from Eastern Cape, for instance, and some have been in Gauteng, who come down to act in our division. The second one is that if a person wants to be permanently appointed later, it's wise that we have that person from that division so that we'll be able to know what kind of a judge he will be. Because if he's at the later stage, he comes to be permanently appointed in your division, not having known him or her, I think some other people have got that problem, which could be addressed, because you may find that in one area, some of the division are small, and if those people are not given an opportunity to act, how they will be appointed, I think should be viewed also from that angle and be addressed. Thank you.
Thank you, Judge Matondo. Then Commissioner Tsepe.
Thank you, Chief Justice. It then becomes a follow-up of Commissioner Nojesi's second question, not a sub-question. It relates to
Yes.
it relates to the issue of acting judges. Good morning, DJP.
Good morning,
In-
ma'am.
I've greeted on behalf of everybody.
Yes, he didn't have to respond, Chief Justice. In my culture, you can't speak to elders without greeting them. So I'm just doing the right thing. In your question, DJP, and even in your interview in 2015, you spoke about the appointment of acting judges. You call them a pool of prodigies that you are looking to get as a mechanism of having a pool of judges that or candidates that we look into in order to appoint judges in the future. The question I have, and I've asked other candidates, and not in KZN, but in other division on relating to appointment of JPs, is should we not have a transparent process and transparent criteria for appointment of acting judges? And if so, what do you think that should be? Because it will also deal with the issues that Commissioner Magwanisha has raised about the caliber of people that we then appoint, because they are, once appointed as acting judges, dispensing justice at that point. Thank you, Chief Justice.
Yes, before he answers, Commissioner, do you really want an answer from him on that issue of criteria for acting judges in the light of the fact that there was a discussion yesterday about it?
Chief Justice, I was saying, does he think we should have a transparent process and a criteria? Not that he should give me the criteria now, but does he think we need to be doing this?
Because you might recall yesterday there was, we indicated, the Minister and I participated in that discussion that certainly there are criteria that have been agreed upon by the judiciary or the heads of courts, which would be shared with the legal profession to the extent that they have not been shared.
My
missed that
apologies,
part.
Chief Justice. I think it's the time when we had gone out to speak to the media at that
Maybe,
time, so
maybe,
I hadn't
yes.
heard.
But there are criteria that have been discussed and have been agreed upon by the heads of courts, as far as I recall. And we discussed, the Minister also shared information, I shared information, and I said that, because Mr. Commissioner Nojesi raised it, I said we can share that with the profession.
Okay, Chief Justice, then if that is the case, then he doesn't have to answer that, but then
Yes.
I can ask my second question then. I'm then entitled.
But you already asked the first one. Okay, ask.
Am I allowed, Chief Justice?
Ask. Be crisp.
Yes. Thank you, Chief Justice. DJP, in the previous interview for DJP, and you said that you have achieved 90% of the things that you have done. One of those was related to access instruments to make access to justice easier for indigent people, particularly on the issue of language. I wanted to find out if you have introduced some systems in KZN as DJP, as you promised then, and if so, what that was, if you have managed to do so. Thank you.
Well, your question, Commissioner, is too wide, because I've covered a number of these things during my answer to questions by the Chief Justice and also by the DJP. One of them is access to justice. I've outlined what we have done, and now we have introduced or implemented the mediation, the court-based mediation. And for that reason, the ADJP has been sent for training, And we had a meeting with the legal profession just to have that fully implemented is one of those things. And the acting judges, there are so many acting judges who have been appointed, and out of them, I think about 15 or so were females who have gone through my hands, and some of them are now appointed judges. We addressed the question of interpreters. Remember, I talked about that, and even explaining the meaning of words in Zulu, how it sounds, if you raise your sound, it changes, and so on. That has been addressed. And the obtaining of statements by the police, that has been addressed. And the setting up of the legal desk to help the indigent people and to help the people who come to court for directions as well, and assistance if a person needs assistance. That is in place.
Yes, and Judge Matondo, she didn't want you to do the whole list.
Thank you, Chief
She's
Justice.
satisfied.
Yes, I'm satisfied.
Yes.
Thank you.
You'll get a crisp question, Judge Matondo, from Commissioner Klaba.
I'm committed. Thank you very much, CJ. Let me declare first, CJ, we have known each other for many years, and we even served in the same legislature together. And the question I'm going to ask was asked in 2016, but you partly addressed it. Do you think the media is assisting in enhancing transparency and promoting accountability in the performance of the judicial function? I know the answer is going to be yes. Suppose it is yes, when does that role become a threat to the notion of judicial independence? I think it was Chris.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
There will be a crisp answer from the DJP.
Okay. So firstly, the people must know what is happening in courts. The media gives effect to the constitutional values of access to justice, accountability, and independence of the judiciary. But in some instances, you will find that the media prejudges the matter and saying things which were not supposed to be said. That's where the problem arises, where you will find that somehow the people, a judicial officer may feel not to be free as he or she should be, or independent as expected. I'm adhering to that. The answer should be crisp.
Thank you. I'm well addressed.
But if
it's well covered, Chair.
Yes.
Thanks.
Thank you. We have gone. We have taken 1.5 hours. So I just mentioned that for the benefit of everybody. Commissioner Nyambi.
Thank you, CJ. Morning, DJP Matondo.
Morning, Commissioner Nyambi.
In your vision, you have covered the issue of what you have achieved, what was presented the last time you interviewed. 90% is a serious achievement, even though I expected 100. But be that as it may, CJ, I don't want to ask any question. I've been covered. I'm ready for the engagement.
Thank you very much.
I hope with your 2 years, you'll do 100%. DJP Matondo.
Yes, because now I will be on my own.
That's good. Thank you.
Well, 90%, I think Professor Schlemmer will tell us whether I think 90% must be magna cum laude. Commissioner Singh.
Thank you very much, Chief Justice. I'll be crisp. Just a declaration that Senator Madonda and I served together in 1996. I was there from 94, and then we were in the legislature together. I'm just going to reflect on the vision that you enunciated, Honorable DJP, with regard to equality of justice, where you spoke about the equality of justice irrespective of race, gender, etc. Now, it has been brought to my attention that you have written a book published in 2019, where it is alleged that you made some egregious comments, and the book was titled Revelation of God's Truth and Plan. And one of the things that you argued there, that homosexuals are, and I'm quoting, are clinging onto their perversion, close quote, and there is nothing to change them. And you take issue with the growing intolerance of sexuality in society. Now, that comes from your book. Now, in a senior position as JP, do you not think that those comments may be construed as homophobic and an affront to what is contained in our Constitution? Thank you.
Commissioner Singh, in the first place, that is quoted out of context. If you read the entire chapter, it doesn't portray that. I don't know, because I said it will be crisp, but this is a religious question which should be addressed appropriately in a religious way. Because just to pick one word out of many and make a mountain out of it will cause a problem. Here, there's nothing which says the homosexuals are clinging to their perversion. This thing starts from the Corinthian people, because if this is religious, I have to refer to the scripture as well, if I'm allowed to do so. It starts from the Corinthian people who engage in some of those activities. But when Apostle Paul arrived and preached to them, they were converted and accepted God, and they were healed from that. So if a person has to be healed or saved, that person must accept that his or her conduct is not right, and then God seeks God's intervention. So that comes from that if you don't want to accept that, there will be a problem, because if you just pick that thing up, because it was a question arising from the debate, not in South African debate, but the debate in the world that sexuality is of God's creation. So the reference to scriptures, to verses in the scripture, how God treated those acts, and what he also instructed, what punishment should be meted out. So my reference to that is not just mine. It's not my personal view or personal belief, but it emanates and is based on the interpretation of the Bible. And if you look above what we are saying, that's where I express the amazement of the severity of the punishment which will be meted out. And I clearly indicate that in this time of grace, nobody is or should be put to death, because according to what God says in Leviticus 18, verse 23, those persons who are found to be engaged in that activity, they should be put to death. So then I explain that nowadays that could not happen because we have the grace of God by sending Jesus to us, that even if we sin, we should not be killed, but we should be preached to. If we accept, then we'll be saved. It's not only for homosexuals who must change. Everybody wants to obey God. I don't know where I place this thing now, because I want to show you in the very same book we are talking about what I'm saying there. Chief Justice, you allow me to...
Yeah, I'll allow you to
page
have a
2
look
here.
because it is important, yeah.
I don't find it now. I don't know what happened to this thing now. Commissioner Singh, have you read the whole chapter or you only picked this one?
Chief Justice, that's a crisp question. It was brought to my attention. I think I qualified
Yeah, you
that
did.
aspect of it.
Yeah, you
and
did.
if DJP Madondo wants to stop at that answer that he gave us, then well, I will just accept his answer for what it is and interpret it from there.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
we receive information as well. Thank you.
Yeah.
Chief Justice, if I may come in here, if you don't mind.
Oh, okay.
I think I'm lower down on your list.
Yes, you are, but it's connected to the
It's
same
connected
thing.
to this, and I have the whole chapter in front of me.
Okay.
So I've read the entire chapter. so I'll
Let
be
me
able to
allow
take
Commissioner
it up.
Pillay to also come in because it relates to the same thing.
Okay, maybe let me...
When you respond, DJP, then you can respond completely.
Okay.
Good morning, DJP.
Good morning, Commissioner Pillay.
DJP, you rightly raised the issue of whether one can extract just an excerpt of the chapter or whether you must consider the entire chapter as a whole. So what I will do is I'm going to take you through what you say in the chapter, just extracting key features of the chapter so that I think it gives us a better sense of what the entire chapter deals with. Are you happy with that approach, DJP?
Can you come again?
Sure. I'm saying that you've raised very correctly whether it's proper just to pull out one excerpt from the chapter or whether one should consider the entire chapter as a whole to understand the full import of what you say in the chapter.
Yes.
So what I propose to do is to just give you, I'm not going to read the entire chapter, but just pull out some of the themes which you deal with in the chapter and then deal with what your conclusion is at the end of that chapter. And I think that allows us also to distinguish between excerpts from the Bible that you refer to, as well as your own conclusions and your own opinion as appears from that chapter. Are you comfortable with that approach?
Well, you can put it in that way, but you must remember whatever I say there is based on the interpretation of the Bible, and whatever I do, that is supported by reference to the relevant structure, or after discussion by both sides, because this was a debate, a religious debate.
So the chapter is...
let me say, I know that the DJP, I think, was still looking either for his book or had got his book and were looking for the right page to see something that he wanted to use to respond to Commissioner Singh. But let me allow Commissioner Pillay to read the portions, and it's just points, I guess.
Yes, it's just points.
Yeah.
I've tried to distill it.
And
so it's
then
just
when
points.
she has done, she can put what she wanted to put to you, and then you will get a chance to respond both to what Commissioner Singh said and to Commissioner Pillay. Okay.
Thank you, Chief Justice. DJP, the chapter we're dealing with is chapter 27 of your book, and the chapter is headed Is Sex Sin? And the first theme dealt with in the chapter is about marital sex, and the conclusion that you reflect there is that marital sex is not evil or sinful. The next topic you deal with is, did God create homosexuality? And you go through some of the scriptures on that, and one of the things you note is that it was the root cause for the destruction of the cities of Sodom and Gomorrah with fire and brimstone by God, and obviously you give the Genesis reference for that. And then you say you deal with Leviticus, and you say Leviticus prescribes sexual relations between males, and then you state the Bible also prohibits sexual relations between female persons. And then, DJP, you put your conclusion, which is not an extract from the Bible, but your conclusion, and you say, it is apparent from the above that biblical penalty for homosexuality was severe. However, and I think this is what you referred to earlier, DJP, you say, however, in the grace dispensation, nobody is or should be killed for committing homosexuality or any other sinful conduct. And then you say, but that does not detract from the sinfulness of the act performed. You then go on, you say, homosexuality sears the mind, causing one to reject the God-plane family relationship of husband, wife, and children. It also victimizes the homosexual physically, in that there are greater chances of venereal diseases and other physical penalties. You then your next topic you deal with is, can homosexuals change? And you say the mind of a confirmed homosexual is what sets him or her apart. To a homosexual, sexual relations with the opposite sex are as repugnant as man-with-man relations are to the straight man. And I think your conclusion is that homosexuals cannot change. And then you say the last topic you deal with is the battle is worth fighting. Now, the battle is worth fighting is the topic that follows on from the topic, can homosexuals change? And you say the battle is worth fighting, for the reward is great. You've got an excerpt from Revelation there. Then you say the rewards will also be greater in this life, a newfound peace and tranquility, and freedom from legal hassles and social norm. Most vitally, there will come a greater understanding of God as Father, the Church as Christ's bride, and Christians as sons of that spiritual union. God is a family, and he wants Christians to learn of him through the nuclear family unit. Otherwise, the sodomite way of life will bring forth poisoned fruit. And your reference is Deuteronomy there. And you say, which will destroy both man and society. And this is, in your own words, DJP, the last sentence of that paragraph. Unless homosexuals quit wanting to cling to their perversion, no amount of clear scriptures on the subject will convert or correct them. Now, I think, DJP, from that, it's conclusive that what you do in that chapter is you deal correctly, as you say, with your references to certain scriptures, but the chapter is littered with your own commentary and a very clear conclusion by you at the end of that, which describes homosexuality, firstly, as a crime in your view, secondly, as a perversion. And what you're saying is that unless they quit clinging to this perversion, no amount of clear scripture will convert or correct them. Now, that's a very strong note of homophobia that comes through your chapter. Now, my question, DJP, was, in light of the important office held by both DJPs and JPs, we know that they form the leadership of the judiciary, and we know that the courts and the judges are the final guardians of the Constitution. Now, in light of that role, do you think that what is referred to in your chapter is appropriate, firstly? But secondly, in light of the provisions of the Code of Conduct for judges, do you not see a clear breach of the Code of Conduct? And you will recall that the Code of Conduct regulates both judicial conduct in court as well as extrajudicial conduct. And it places a very stern duty on judges to conduct themselves in a manner that upholds the respect and integrity of the office that they hold. Thank you, DJP.
Thank you.
Okay.
You may respond. And to the extent that you might not have responded to Commissioner Singh's question, use this opportunity to respond to both.
Yes, I'll find what I've been looking for. In the first place, I'm just put in an awkward position because I have to argue a religious question under legal sphere. The book is not dealing with the legal thing or people. It's dealing here with the people who are Christians and what God says about it. There, I don't know which one to start with. Let me finish up with Commissioner Singh. Commissioner Singh, in that, let me give a background to this thing so that everybody will understand how does this thing come from. We have God saying this at 593, the last paragraph, no, it's the 1, 2, 3, the third paragraph, where he says, if a man also lie with the mankind, that is Leviticus 20, verse 18, as he lieth with a woman, both of them have committed an abomination, they shall surely be put to death. Their blood shall be upon them. And also reference to other scriptures. Then it goes on to include women as well. Also, Apostle Paul also talking about death, the judgment of death. So the interpretation in this chapter, because it's dealing with homosexuality, the interpretation is not that I'm giving judgment to them. It's the interpretation of the Bible. It's not my personal belief. It's not my views. Well, if you analyze a document or a discussion or a debate, out of that you make some remarks. As I say, as you read it, that however in the grace dispensation nobody is or should be killed. That clearly shows you that I'm not of the view that homosexuals will be killed. And I'm taking that from the Bible. But if you talk about sinfulness of the act, according to the Bible, God says, He says what is sin, what is not sin. So if you kill a person because he's committed this or any other sin, that is not allowed. Then, that what you quoted is quoted in Romans 1:27. What it does to a person. It's not me who's saying that. And I'm also talking about how is it accepted. And there's a place where I say, humanly, homosexuals face a difficult battle, but with God, all things are possible. So that arises from two societies. There's a society of Sodom and Gomorrah, who were destroyed. It's not me who said they were destroyed. It's the Bible who says they were destroyed. For what reason? Mainly, that was the root cause. If you go to Genesis 13, verse 10, 18, verse 19, 18, Genesis 13, verse 10 and 18, and Genesis 19, verse 25. That tells you how and for what reason they were destroyed. It's not me who says they were destroyed for that. And if you go there, then we come to another society now, of the Corinthians.
Can I come in?
Yes. One second. I think maybe because I think are you about to finish your answer?
Yes, I'm about to conclude the answer because now.
Okay, let him finish the answer and then Commissioner Moimang, I'll let you come in. Yes, finish your answer. The Society of Corinthians, which the Bible says they overcome homosexuality and effeminacy. So I don't know whether I must read this, but I have to read. Know ye not that the unrighteous shall not inherit the kingdom of God? Be not deceived, neither fornicator, nor idolaters, nor adulterers, nor effeminate, nor abuser of themselves with mankind of homosexuals shall inherit the kingdom of God. And such were some of you, but ye are washed, but ye are sanctified, but ye are justified in the name of the Lord Jesus and by the Spirit of God. So we have two societies now. We have this society which was destroyed and the one which was saved. And the basis of that society to be saved is that they accepted that what they were doing was wrong and obey God. So when you come to deal with the sodomite way of life, it's not referring to a homosexual person. It's referring to a person who resided at the city of Sodom. So we have two ways now. We have one way where the people repented, and the first way where they did not repent and perished. And the other one, they repented and saved. So now, as a Christian, we are called upon to choose which way we will follow. Because if you follow the way of Sodom and Gomorrah, definitely you will perish. So then, if you, that's what it means. And the last one will answer the question of sin, where at 595, where it is stated that mercy is an offer of unmerited pardon to all who desire to change, turn around, and obey God. So this thing should not be distorted as if I'm attacking homosexuals. And this is an issue which is discussed under the religious sphere. And to say I may appear as homophobic, that is not true. Okay, I'm going to hear what Commissioner Moimang and I'll go to the speaker. You take an oath as a judge, and you are supposed to uphold the Constitution. To the extent that you may have certain religious views, would they affect your adjudication of disputes?
No, it hasn't. Even for the 29 years I've been performing adjudicator duties, nobody has said I have shown that. I'm always wary of not imposing my creed upon the society. I also make a clear distinction between my religious belief and my judicial perceptions. I'm also aware of the fact that my belief cannot be those of the society at large. And there's a personal credo and the creed of the nation. So in the performance of my duties, I'm critical and restrained in my views and respect the shackles that bind me as a judge. So what is happening here is just an interpretation of the Bible for people who want to follow God, because if God says this is wrong, it's wrong. So I'm enjoined to say that, though that doesn't mean that those who are engaged in that, I'm condemning them or whatever. It's not for me to condemn those people. And as I've said, together with other areas I've served, Industrial Court, CCMA, Bargaining Council, and the court, I haven't shown anything of that nature. And we have different people in this country believing in different religions. So
Thank you.
You cannot expect the people to do as you do. But I'm not against any homosexual, whatever, and it's not for me to say whether it's sin or not. It's that for God to say. But I would not penalize or jeopardize somebody for what he does or whatever he believes. And I've shown it throughout my years of performing adjudicatory functions.
Thank you. Commissioner Moimang, did that cover you?
Yes, and also your interface to
Yes.
justice.
Okay.
Put
Did it cover you,
Put my fears
Commissioner
to
Mapisa Ngagula?
I'm sorry, I really am sorry, CJ, because I realize that we're running out of time.
Yes.
However, honestly, I do want to raise this matter. I will not feel good with myself
Yeah.
on behalf of the huge community of LGBTIQ in South Africa.
Mm-hmm.
In 2022, I'm a Christian. I'm not just a Christian, I'm a very devoted Christian. And I hear you, and I, in my religion and in my beliefs, I've always taken into account the fact that South Africa is a secular state. And because it is a secular state, there's freedom of religion which is enshrined in our constitution. Now, one of the things which concern me, I'm sorry to excuse my ignorance, Your Worship, is that it's your entire outlook which you claim is based on your religious beliefs as contained in the Bible. And I have a problem with that. And I don't think this is something we can discuss right now. But I do want to say it is problematic. There are many Christians out there, we are Christians, but who have gone out to embrace the LGBTIQ community. My biggest challenge with the way you are presenting the issue and justifying your positions on this matter is that you keep on making reference to Christianity. But actually, being a secular state, we have many other religions and people who practice those religions, but who do not necessarily base their beliefs and their practices on the Bible that you are referring to. I have a problem with that. I have a problem with a judge who will sit there and espouse and push an angle that talks to one religion in his outlook, when we all know that you believe in a constitution which is a secular, which talks to South Africa as a secular state. And I'm saying I have a problem with that. But also, I do want to say this. I'm sorry, Judge, and I know this is not a question, it's a comment. I'm just sitting here, I'm thinking, what happens the day you are presented with a case where people in a civil union, by virtue of having been allowed by the law to get married, who are, of course, homosexual, and they appear before you, and there's a conflict which you have to resolve. They are pleading to the court to mediate on a matter which affects them, whether a family feud or whatever, but on a matter, and I'm sitting here and I'm thinking, how will they have confidence that issues they raise with a judge who has written a book which seeks to portray their conduct and behavior as demonic? How? And I'm not engaging on legal basis because I'm not a legal person, I'm just a human being. But I want to speak on behalf of all those who I hear now from a judge, really. My view is that the manner in which you've come across the book, I've not seen the book. I would like to see the book. But I'm sitting here and I'm thinking, how will they have confidence in your ability to preside and adjudicate on a matter which affects them? How? And I think that's my problem, and I'm sorry if I raise it in there's intolerance which is coming out, which I do not believe South Africans should allow in 2020, when we have people getting married every day who do not believe in what you are saying. How would you handle that as a judge?
Let's DJP.
CJ.
Yes, you may respond.
CJ,
Minister.
CJ, may I?
Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, Minister.
Yeah, I just wanted to add so that when he responds, what I just want to add is that we currently have a wave of murderers of the LGBTQI community in the country, and they march to government, to everyone to protect them. So I want to get your view whether, do you think these views that have been espoused in this book, do they help us to send a message to the community of diversity, tolerance, and of living together, and to condemn these actions that are happening throughout the country that we're grappling with?
I'm sorry, DJP, you might wish to just make notes of the question because Commissioner Baloyi wants to add something as well, to just make notes of the questions. Yes.
Thank you, CJ. DJP, this is related. I mean, it's obviously related to this topic, but I thought let me raise it now so that when you answer, you can deal with it as well. Now, I'm looking at the Code of Conduct and Article 7 for judges, and then Article 7 says, a judge must at all times personally avoid and disassociate him, and here's the part that I think is relevant. Well, maybe let me read it in context. Personally avoid and disassociate him or herself from comments or conduct by persons subject to his or her control that are racist, sexist, or otherwise manifest discrimination in violation of the equality guaranteed by the Constitution. Now, my question is that your comments, your personal views, which you are quite entitled to, how do they not fall foul of that provision that I've just read, in that you have publicly expressed your views in that chapter? Thank you, CJ.
Thank you. You may respond, DJP.
Thank you, CJ. There's so many things have been said, but what I have to put across here, that is not what I believe. What is interpreted there is what the Bible says. So there's no intention whatsoever to insult or to denigrate anybody. And even these things which are said at some stage that are just quoted out of context, as if I'm condemning homosexuality. And the question comes from the commissioner who spoke first on the issue. Is that how these people are going to come before me? I have stated how I conduct myself when I'm in the performance of my judicial functions. And throughout these years, I have never been found to be followed with any of these things. As we know, all of us, we have our own beliefs and so on. We have different beliefs. But this is not what I intended to convey in the sense it is now being interpreted. But this was a sort of a religious debate, which may take time even for me to argue, but I'm not really interested to argue, but to say what is being said there is a mere interpretation of the Bible. And even then, I indicate where also I have a different feeling about it. So this is not something which I say I'm adhering to it, or anybody who's of a different opinion or a different belief. So I have to victimize that person for that belief. If a person comes to court, you don't look at what they are, their status, etc. You deal with the matter before you. For the matter of information, there so many have come before me for a divorce of that union. I handle the matter as any other matter. I have done it already. That would not be the first time to do that. And all this time, I have been performing those duties as a judge. There's nothing untoward which is said I have done because of these beliefs I said I have, that they say I have. And nothing will change if I'm appointed as a JP. Nothing will change after so many years sticking to this thing. So it's very I can say I'm not well in the way it is treated. And Minister, you say there's a violence about this LGTB. But in this book, I clearly say that nobody should be killed for that. In the very same book I'm referring to, that's what I'm saying, that nobody should be killed. And that is based also on the Bible, that we are in the period of grace, that anybody can do whatever he or wants to do. The only person who judges that person is God, is not me. So I'm very sorry if that is interpreted in that fashion, but in me, I didn't have that in my mind. So to say, referring to the scripture, I refer to the scripture because I was discussing a religious issue. And that religious issue, then I have to make some remarks arising from the religious issue, which is different from where I have to make a statement in the media. I have to do this and that. So I was just writing a book, not for South Africans, for people, all people in the world. So that is, the problem is that there's a mention of the word which I did not intend that it should be like that. And as I indicated also that when I'm performing my duties, there's not part of that. And I don't see this being an impediment unless if there's something to the fact that I've done something. And also after explaining how did this come about, it's not that I'm just wantonly attacking anybody. I was trying to summarize a religious issue.
CJ?
Yes.
CJ, if I may get a point of clarity from the DJB?
Just hang on 1 second. I had gone to Commissioner Moimang. I think Commissioner Nyambi, I'd given you a chance. Yes. Oh, I think the minister was the next one. Minister, are you covered? Okay, let me give the minister a chance.
Is he done with this response?
Well,
because mine is no
yours
longer
is
related
different.
to. Yes.
Oh, okay. No, that's fine then. Yours goes through this? Yours? No. Okay. Then ATJP.
Thank you, Chief Justice. Judge Madonna, I just want a point of clarity on this issue. My understanding of the book is that it is addressed to those that intend to follow Christianity.
Yes.
And if you don't want to follow Christianity, you have no reason to concern yourself about the issues that are raised in the book. You only, for instance, all the repentance, all the issues that were raised in Sodom and Gomorrah, those were the issues for those that are Christians and for those that intend to follow Christianity.
Yes, it's been clearly stated in that book. Those are the people it talks to.
Thank you, Chief Justice.
Thank you. Does your one relate to that? No, it doesn't. Okay. Are we done on this one?
CJ, we're done.
Yeah.
But I think when the parting shot is just one word.
Yeah.
Judge, you are homophobic. It's a statement I want to make unequivocally. You are homophobic, and in South Africa in 2022, it's just unbelievable. For the record, thank you. Chief Justice?
Well, Judge Madondo, just respond to that.
Commissioner, I think
you have a right to respond to it.
We are mistaken, or in fact, I would say we are wrong. Because I have stated over and over that this does not arise from me, it arises from the interpretation of the Bible. I have clearly indicated also how I behave or conduct myself. If you take this for 29 years, I've met all these people and made the case and decided cases. There's nobody who can come up and say, I've demonstrated the tendencies of being homophobic. That is far from me, because there are people whom I'm associate with and helping them, whereas I know that their belief or their member of this LGB society. So to say I'm homophobic, I think to me is an insult. because this is a judgment that I'm homophobic, without getting into the book and read the scripture and all those things, and come to the point that you say I'm homophobic, because there's nothing supporting that I'm homophobic other than what has been distorted out of this book. There's nothing which supports that statement.
Yes, thank you.
Chief Justice, may I just say,
Yeah.
I may have missed it, but I'm not sure if the DJP responded to the question that Commissioner Baloyi raised in relation to the Code of Conduct regarding the comments, and I just wanted the DJP to have an opportunity to respond to that.
Yes, DJP, Commissioner Baloyi referred to a provision of the Code of Conduct, but I think Commissioner Pillay had also referred to it. Do you?
It's Article 7, Chief Justice.
Yes. Do you want to just repeat it?
It's a judge must at all times, Article 7 says, a judge must at all times personally avoid and dissociate him or herself from comments or conduct by persons subject to his or her control that are racist, sexist, or otherwise manifest discrimination in violation of the equality guaranteed in the Constitution.
Commissioner Chase, you want to come in before the...
I mean, yeah, on something else now.
On something else?
Yes.
Okay.
My point is, I don't know where Sodom and Gomorrah is. South Africa is so big and beautiful. Now, and also I'm not interested to read those articles, the Bible, and all those things. I will limit myself to what Judge Matondo told us and what the case law. So, can we not,
Justice,
at this stage,
Hang on.
I want a proposition. What I'm saying is, can we not at this stage, because the point has been made about this document, can we not move on the other points? And then we debate the matter, if it is what it is.
Yeah, hang on, but it's an important point for a number of people, so I just want to make sure that he gets a chance to deal with it, because it's clearly a point that some of the commissioners want to take into account. DJP, you want to respond?
Yes, CJ.
And I think part of your response must make it clear what your views are, because I hear you have been saying you were interpreting the Bible. So maybe part of what you must make clear is what your views are.
Yes, thank you. In the first place, what Commissioner Baloyi says, the people here are not under my control. As reading what the Act says. And secondly, I have indicated that these are not my views. I'm not holding this throughout I go. That was just a debate, a religious debate, where it arose from the two areas of Corinthians and Sodom and Gomorrah. To say sodomites is not referring to homosexual, as I've said earlier on. So there's absolutely nothing I intended or I have to denigrate anybody. So if you interpret something, you may be wrong, but that does not mean that those are your personal views. I clearly stated from the beginning that these are not my personal views or personal beliefs. So there was no intention whatsoever to denigrate anybody or to jeopardize anybody or to look down upon. There are so many people who are committing things which, according to the Bible, are not acceptable. So you cannot just take these people out from those people and say, these are the wrong people. It's not true. There are so many people here, even they've got different beliefs. I have nothing against them, and I have not done anything to support the statement which is now made that I'm homophobic, which I regard as an attack on me as a person without any evidence or without any proof of that. So then to Baloyi, I understand what you say, though I have indicated a problem, because if I was in that sphere, as you put it, then I'll be on the wrong. But in the sphere in which this book is discussed, it's discussed in a different sphere. And you talk about the Constitution and the Bible. The Bible is interpreted and it operates in a different way from the Constitution. So to say something, that doesn't mean that is what I really believe. Or is that my view, as I've reiterated? Just an interpretation of the Bible. So it may not be palatable to other people, which I did not intend. But more so, there's some sort of distortion in this thing to suit what is being said, that I'm homophobic.
Yes, Commissioner or Justice Betzer.
Thank you, Chief Justice. Acting Judge President, I have in front of me Annexure A to your questionnaire, and I see that over and above the onerous demands of your judicial work, you wrote articles and 6 books, which to me is indicative of your energy, industry, and resourcefulness as a judge. Where do you get all this time to do the other extra work?
Commissioner Betzer, I have 24 hours in a day. If I can tell you that the time to sleep, not later than 1 a.m. and wake up at 6. During the weekends, I come home in the house on Friday and come out on Monday. So whatever time I have, I utilize to do some other things I feel there's a gap to attend as a person. Then to do these other things, as I've said, one may say, I neglect the duty. No, it's evident from the judgments I issued. And my judgment, I don't have any outstanding judgment. And I've never had. So that's an indication that what I'm doing, I sacrifice my time when the people are enjoying fun. I'm doing something.
Thank you, Acting Judge President. I'm satisfied. Thank you, Chief Justice.
Thank you. Commissioner Totovu?
I'm covered in the interest of time.
You are covered. Thank you.
I forgo my contribution.
Okay. Thank you. Commissioner Matolo Lepu?
Thank you, Chief Justice. Good morning, DJP.
Good morning.
No, mine is just to try and find out how do we support you, especially when the chairperson of the Justice Portfolio Committee and the minister is here. because I know the real issues of Wi-Fi in the KZN. We cannot, as the profession, we are worried. At some stage, we wanted to meet with the DJP to assist and for you to access, this case, the Wi-Fi's, but unfortunately we can't. We wanted even to offer the services of our own library as the LPC, but unfortunately we don't have Wi-Fi. So I'm appealing to those in power, please assist. It's really frustrating our profession.
Thank you. Commissioner Klaba, you had, I know I'm giving you another chance.
Yes,
but yes.
CJ, I'm covered.
Yeah, you are covered.
In the interest
Okay.
of time, thanks.
Okay, Commissioner Kane.
Thank you, CJ. Judge President, I just need to take up one answer with you that you gave earlier about your intended date of retirement. I raised the issue with you because my understanding of the law is that once you've had 15 years of service and you've turned 70, you have to retire. And my understanding, but correct me if I'm incorrect, is that you will turn 70 on the 25th of November this year, and that you would have had 15 years of service on 30 July this year. Am I incorrect, or am I correct that you perhaps would have 6 months of service as the new Judge President if you were to be appointed?
No, we are incorrect. We are incorrect. I'm 68 years.
Thank you. Your birthday, as I understand it, is 25 November 1953.
Yes.
All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Commissioners attending virtually. Is there anyone who has a question?
No questions from me, Chief Justice.
Thank you.
I'm covered.
You are covered. Thank you.
Morning, CJ.
Morning. Thank you.
CJ, it seems as if you've forgotten me.
CJ.
Let me talk to the ones attending virtually, and then I'll look at the commissioners who are here. Yes, Commissioner Barnard doesn't have a question. Commissioner Breitenbach doesn't have a question. Commissioner Shabangu Mdawi, do you have a question?
Yes, CJ, only one.
Okay,
yeah.
Go ahead.
In the question, morning, DJP.
Good morning.
Yeah, in the questionnaire, you indicated that you undergone abdominal surgery last year in 2021, and you are applying to be a judge president, which is a demanding position. How is this thing going to affect your performance, if any?
Well, it's not going to affect my performance from the reason that since I was discharged from hospital, I've been very busy completing my judgment, a Court judgment, and at the same time writing High Court judgments, and I haven't had any problem since I started indicating that I'll have a problem. And that was not that serious that I became disabled, or it's just a recurring thing.
Okay, thank you, DJ. Thank you, CJ.
Thank you. Now, there was a voice here of somebody who thought I had forgotten.
It's me.
Oh, Minister.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, thank you. DJP, mine relates to the fact that the JP is retired. You are now acting, and as you said, you have got about 2 years. What succession plan do you have in the division? And is there anything that you have already discussed with the outgone JP in terms of planning for a pool of succession for the leadership of the division, and what factors are you going to consider in going about this task?
Yes. answer. Well, we had some kind of discussion that we should have people who are being prepared to take up the leadership. And those people must have a vision which will take the division forward. So, as it has been indicated that some say 6 months or so, which is not true. The successful change of the effectiveness and efficiency of the legal system and the achievement of the transformative goals do not depend on just leadership, but on continuity of leadership. So as I'm now, I'm preparing a ground for the next crop of judicial leadership, where we'll see people younger or people with different, a different gender, as it has used to be, getting an opportunity if they are successful and lead the division towards the right direction. As we know, we are at the stage where people should be versed with what is really happening and also meet the demands of the society. So if I'm appointed, my appointment will help to ensure stability and continuity of leadership in the direction I've already started.
Okay. My second one relates to what Commissioner Lepu raised about the Wi-Fi. What will be your role in terms of helping that division to have access to connectivity and any form of modernization of the infrastructure that relates to connectivity? And have you played any role in that regard in the past, and what will be your role going into the future?
Well, since that I've shortly taken over as an acting JP, in Durban, we don't have it at all. In Pietermaritzburg, we have it, but no reception. I've raised this with the COJ office and also with the Public Works, and that I haven't received a positive answer as to what and when, because we have to get it. So from now onwards, I have to isolate that problem and deal with it until this problem is resolved. As we see that we are in a modern time, technology is one of the things that should be utilized. So if you are just behind and you remain behind forever, is that also a problem? So it should be attended to. But in the meantime, while that has not been sorted out, we are favored with what we can utilize to give quality justice to the people.
Thank you. Thank you, CJ.
Thank you. I don't see any further questions. I think we have come. Okay, I think we have come to Commissioner Makonish. Have you got second thoughts?
I have been successfully suppressed.
Oh. We have come to the end of this interview. I want to thank you, Acting JP, for availing yourself for consideration for appointment as Judge President of the Division. I will give you 3 minutes, if you would like to use it, to emphasize 2 or 3 points that you might wish to the commissioners to specially take into account as they consider your candidature. But if you believe that you have said all you needed to say, that's fine.
Thank you, CJ. I think I have to utilize the opportunity I'm afforded.
Yes.
As I've indicated throughout this interview, what I intended to do, and some of the things have been done, and some should be done, and some have been raised here, which one I have to attend. Then the commission should look at what I've done since I was appointed as a DJP. That is quite evident, even my question and so on, what I've done. And what I will do in what I've set out, taking what I've set out, that in their view, they see that I will bring about the change, and that what has been said about the book is just a sad thing in the way it has been handled, and that emphasize these are not my personal view or belief. And I've shown that throughout the years I have been performing adjudicative functions, and there's nobody who says I have done something wrong or I have shown any tendencies of the nature that has been indicated. It's just an unfortunate situation which one found it appropriate to pick up. And there's no other thing to refer to say, to indicate that, in fact, indeed, we are. Look at what we have done. There's nothing. It's just a distortion of somebody against what I'm saying.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, CJ.
Thank you, Acting JP. You are now excused. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. I think we are at 4 minutes to 12. I think we must take a break and then come back and deliberate. Let's make it 15 minutes. So we'll come back at 10 past. Oh, no. Let's just come back at 15:15. Okay, all right.